Yes, sir. This
Jason,
is Jason Black.
Hey, Jason,
Yes,
I understand you've got
Black calling.
yes, sir. And I understand you have a new movie out called Gentrification.
Yes, sir. I have a new film called Gentrified, Ethnic Cleansing American Style, and it'll be opening in D.C. on February 18th.
Give us a thumbnail sketch of what this movie. Because I think that I saw some billboards out but they're out in Chicago. Has it debuted out in Chicago yet?
No, we have billboards in Chicago, Philly, Atlanta, a bunch of other places we're going to be going up with billboards at. You all have television on WJLA out there. So if you've been watching Hot Bench or the Evening News, you've seen a commercial from us also.
All right. Give us a background on this movie. How did it all come about?
Well, basically, because right now, with the climate that we have in America today, I felt it was prescient that we talk about the fact that black people are being physically removed from America's cities, and not just the megalopolises, which you've witnessed there in D.C. with outfits like Clark Construction and Eichberg. Clearly, black people have been evacuated from the city core in the Capital District and have been pushed outward into the letter streets. And I think it's just going to keep going at this point, because this is the unfinished business of slavery, is what to do with black people at this point, since they're no longer necessary as a labor force. What do you do with them? It's time to completely remove them. And this is the first film ever that deals with the fact that this is the real aim of gentrification. Gentrification is not just an economic issue. It is an ethnic agenda. And I think the evidence clearly boils that out.
Now, Jason, what are some of the warning signs that if we look around our neighborhood and we see some things changing, what would we can say, hey, it looks like gentrification is on the way? Any of those mentioned in the movie? Yeah,
one of the first things you can look for is a Whole Foods. If you see a Whole Foods being built nearby, guess what? You have been targeted, whether you get it or not. That's one of the warning signs. A lot of things that black people have not picked up on. If you're seeing a situation where there's high-rise construction and a lot of it, like you're experiencing in D.C., you're having an explosion of that right now, just understand that's going to be built for only higher-income people. That is going to force middle-class whites to start looking for more affordable housing. Quote, affordable is where black people are. They are not afraid to move in where we are if they can get a better deal. And right now they're being forced to look for a better deal. So when you see, quote, luxury housing being built nearby, just understand that's going to start pushing middle-class whites out, and that's going to eventually trickle down to black people.
Well, Jason, what do you say to what do you say? Because I understand, especially in the DC, I've heard these stories in D.C. that these older homeowners, folks come by with suitcases full of cash, and it's just overwhelmed, and they just take the money and run. They just leave all the furniture. What do you say to people when people come try to buy their homes? Do you say you got to stay for or take the money and move to the suburbs? What do you tell them? What should they do then?
Well, it would be different if we were taking this and reinvesting it. It would be different if that was what was happening, because the reason this becomes a cycle is, as Dr. Claude Anderson always taught us, it's not about what you can buy, somebody giving you a big paycheck and you go buy something else. It is about what do you own, what do you control, and what are you passing down. And in this case right here, it would be different if we were passing down wealth, passing down property. What that tells you, if somebody wants to pay you $1 million for your house, what other communities understand is, wow, if this guy thinks it's worth $1 million, in 10 years, it'll probably be worth 3 or 4. Why would I possibly sell it now? Unfortunately, with us, it's like, hey, as you said, take the money and run. The problem becomes wherever we run to is usually not going to be anywhere near as valuable. That home's an asset if someone wants to pay you $1 million for it. It is an appreciating asset, and we're selling it right before it really takes off, which is what you've seen in Harlem and places like Washington Heights and places like that. We're selling right as it's gaining value as opposed to holding it. So we're doing it backwards.
Now, the movie Gentrified, what made you want to do this movie? Because, you could have gone the other route like Tyler Perry and done put something like that on the screen, but you wanted to do something impactful. Why?
Sir, quite frankly put, because I believe that we have entered the last 100 years of viability. I think the last 8 years were extremely squandered, and the end result is the man in the White House now who has let everybody know you're put on notice. It is foot to the floor white supremacy at this point. You no longer have a federal government to assist or protect you in even a tertiary way. They weren't doing that much before, but now he's like, the gloves are off. It's going to be our way. And over the next 4 years, we are going to try to make as much ground in as radical a fashion as we can. And what you are going to see over the next 4 years is, quite frankly, the most dangerous period in history for black people since Dred Scott, to be frank about it. You're seeing acceleration across the board, and what we're witnessing is not black people being moved out of neighborhoods. You are going to see a situation like San Francisco. It's already shaping up in D.C. now, where an eviction notice on your front door is not an eviction from your house. It is an eviction from the entire city, because you will not be able to afford to stay. And we are seeing, as people, we had to say Black Lives Matter, and they kept coming back, well, all lives matter. Well, imagine that when you're being physically removed. And I'm telling you right now, they're at the end of their sympathy. There's not going to be a media anymore that even takes up our cause. MSNBC just hired Megyn Kelly and Greta Van Susteren. You're not even going to have black media outside of people like Carl Nelson sounding the alarm, which is what media should do. So quite frankly, we're staring down extinction is what I'm telling you. This is ethnic cleansing, American style, and we all know what ethnic cleansing ends in.
Jason, what you hope that people take away after seeing this film?
I hope that we take away that this is not a class issue. This is a racial issue, and it is an economic issue. This is about the fact that we as black people need to make a priority, top priority, of what we own and control. Gentrification would work for us if we were treating these things as assets. It works against us because we're treating them like consumers. These are just toys to be bought. And these other
hang on a second, Jason. We got to take a quick break here. We got to check the traffic in the DMV. I'll let you finish your thoughts on the other side about Gentrified. Before we left, we were speaking with Jason Black about the movie Gentrified. Jason, I'm going to let you finish up saying what you were saying before we left for the traffic and weather update.
Yes, sir. Very briefly here, our priorities over the last 80 years has been integration. I think at this point that's been proven that should not have been a priority. Our priority should be black empowerment. And what is black empowerment? It simply means economic empowerment. People hate us because we are black, but they are able to victimize us through things like gentrification, police brutality, political disenfranchisement, because we are poor. We have to accept this reality. It is not going to change. And if we try to fight it, that's going to be the same as a starving person trying to deny that they have to eat. These are economic issues. These people are now putting the final moves into place, and our priority should be fixing that, because in many of these cities, quite frankly, it's already over. In Harlem, it's pretty much over. In New Orleans, I hate to say, it's pretty much over. In Flint, pretty much over. In California, the whole state, it's over completely. And if you don't want it to be over where you are, get with it now. It is not about these petty affiliations. It is about what we own, control, and can pass down. That's the only protection that we actually have.
All right, the movie's called Gentrified, must-see movie. How can we see it? When is it coming out, all across the country or locally? How are you going to release it?
Well, it's starting in New York on the 11th. It's going to be opening up in the other places on the 18th, including Washington, D.C. at the Art Center Theater. You can go to our website, youwillbemoved.org. That's youwillbemoved.org. Get your tickets now, or don't. Just wait for the bulldozers to show up.
All right, Jason. Thanks for the warning. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
All right, Jason Black.